Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna and this is For Pause in a Book. I make book and lifestyle related content, so if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Today I am back with season 2 of These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months. Last year I did a video, These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months, and essentially I was giving myself 12 months to read these books, and if I didn't read them by then I was going to unhaul them. It worked out very well. I have a vlog where I read the last ones on the list as well as DNF'd a couple of them and unhauled some. So if you want to check that video out, the link will be up there and in the description below. It's round 2. It's season 2. It's time to pick some new books that we will then give another year to read, and if I don't read them, I'm gonna unhaul them. This was actually really hard to pick the books. I ended up going with 12, so theoretically we have 1 per month. Will that actually happen? Absolutely not. I'm gonna wait till the last minute again. We know this. But it was really hard to pick out these books this year, and I think that means that I really want to read the books that are on my shelves. So that's good. But I do have 12, so let's talk about it. I have these broken up into young adult and then adult. I have a little bit of a genre breakdown, but we're gonna start with the YA. I don't actually have a lot because I don't have a lot of YA books anymore. These 2 shelves, nope, that shelf, and then the one down below, and then a little bit up here. That's all of the YA I have now. And they're either books I've already read or books that I am still really interested in reading. But I do have 4 books that are YA on here, so let's talk about them. The first one is The Weight of Stars by Kay Ingram. I've had this book since 2018. I bought it for one of the very early rounds of Contemporary-a-thon. This book has been on so many TBRs, and for some reason I've never picked it up. I don't know why. It's sci-fi, so theoretically I should really like it. There are so many people that have said amazing things about this book, so I don't know why I haven't picked it up, so hopefully this will give me a reason to actually pick up this book. This book is queer. It's about a girl whose mother, I think, is an astronaut who signed up for like a one-way space trip, not really sure, and they're trying to get like radio signals from Earth to her mother, so they talk to her. I'm not really sure. I don't know a lot about this book, but everyone says they love it, so we'll see. I have Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand for the same reason. This book has been on so many TBRs. I've had this on like Halloween, not Halloween, Summerween, Weekendween, like all of the spooky readathons. I've had this on that TBR. It's queer. It's kind of a Lord of the Flies like reimagining, which I really liked. Fantastic Land, which is also a Lord of the Flies reimagining. So theoretically I should really like this, but I've heard really mixed reviews, and there are some people that I have very close like review taste to that only gave this middle of the road review. So because of that, I've been hesitant to pick it up. So we're gonna do it in the next 12 months. Okay, then I have Cinderella is Dead by Caitlin Barron. This is a reimagining of Cinderella. It takes place, I think, like several hundred years, 200 years after the original story of Cinderella. And essentially all of the girls go to the palace every time they're trying to like, you know, find a princess, essentially. I've heard very mixed things about this. Some people really like it. Some people say it's too long, but I've had this book since release day and haven't picked it up, so we're gonna put it on this list. And then the last YA is The Game by Lindsay Miller. This is a YA thriller that like the seniors of a high school have to like play this assassin game, which I used to love playing. Like it's like this assassin, like almost like a hide and seek type game. We used to play it at summer camp. Low stakes, high intensity. People are placed on hush-hush teams with secret lists of targets. School is the safe zone. You can only be eliminated if you're alone. And so like it has all of these buzzwords for this like game, but I'm also afraid that it's gonna have these like, you know, high school drama type book like issues in it, which I don't like, which is the reason why I've yet to pick it up. It's really short. I shouldn't have any problem reading it, so we'll see. It seems like it would be a really great book to like add to a readathon because it is short. If I'm trying to get like a certain number of books read, so we'll see. Moving on to the adult age range, I have a couple of like contemporary / romance. I think they're more women's fiction, and they're books that I have had on my shelves for so long. Most of them are ones that I've just picked up at like Goodwill and things like that. I think I picked them up for like pop sugar challenges or like reading, some sort of reading challenge, some sort of reading project that never happened. So we have Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler. This was definitely one that I wanted for a pop sugar challenge. And this is about a 20-something-year-old who ends up getting a job working as a server at a really fine upscale restaurant in New York. I think it's in New York. Yeah, New York City. And so it's kind of going to be this like down to earth, like kind of showing that underbelly of New York's fine dining, which sounds fascinating to me. I really like visual media that does that kind of thing. So I'm still interested in this book, but for some reason I've never picked it up. And then Good and Bad by Jennifer Weiner. This is like a really old copy, but this has a plus size representation, which is why I've kept it, but I don't know a lot about this. It's about this woman who is like a pop culture reporter, and then her ex, who was also a reporter, came out with this article saying, like, calling it Loving a Larger Woman. And so like, come to find out, he was only dating her for that article. And so like, she kind of goes into this like personal spiral of trying to figure out who she is and all that stuff. That could be really good, or it could really not be. We'll see how the representation goes. That's why we're putting it on this list. And then lastly, The Coincidence of Coconut Cake by Amy E. Reichert. I bought this one for a Vaultathon vlog that I was going to do, where I was like reading books that all took place in restaurants or like that had chefs or critics or something like that. This is, I think, the romance between a baker and like a food critic, which kind of sounds fun. I kind of like that idea. But I've had this again on my shelf for almost 2 years. I didn't get read during that vlog because I ran out of time. And so I never got to it. And so it's been sitting on my shelf since like March of 2021. Next up, I have The Reckless Oath We Made by Bren Greenwood. This is August 2019 book of the month. This is by the same author who wrote All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, which is a really controversial book here on BookTube. It's one of those books that like it's either 1 star or 5 stars. And it like has some very hard-hitting tropes and themes and things like that. And I'm sure that this one's going to be the same thing. There is a Z who comes from a very troubled family life. She's just always like, her family is really struggling. And then there's Gentry, who is autistic, and he kind of comes to her aid. Not really sure how. And it says it's a love story for the ages. I don't really know. I'm very hesitant to go into this because while I think I liked All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, I definitely understand the criticisms for it, and I'm afraid she'll probably go into those same really dark places with this one. So hesitant, which is why this is going on this list. It's one of those things that is just kind of making me read the book and not just letting it sit on the shelf, letting me question it. You know, I have to read it or give it up. Okay, next up we have Vox by Christina Dalcher. I heard about this book, I want to say like in 2018 or 2019. This is kind of reminiscent to The Handmaid's Tale. Women are not allowed to speak more than 100 words a day. Some women are not permitted to hold jobs. Girls are not taught to read or write. Females no longer have a voice. Before, the average person spoke 16,000 words each day, and now women only have 100 to make themselves heard. I'm a big fan of dystopian books, and so this one has been one that like I've wanted to read, but for some reason it's just never happened. Next up, one of the books that I've probably had it the longest and has somehow evaded unhauls time and time again, and that's California by Eden Lepucki. This is one of the lowest rated books on Goodreads that I own. So why I think that I'm going to like this, I don't know. This is another near future dystopian. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, and this couple is living like kind of in the wilderness. She finds out she's pregnant, so they try to go to the settlement, and obviously like there's going to be some problems. I really like those types of like shows and movies and things like that, so it would figure that I would like this in a book as well, but for some reason this has been sitting on my shelf since like the beginning of my BookTube career. This was a 100% a cover buy. It's like a beautiful book, But yeah, I've never read it, and so I need to do that. The last two are fantasy. The first one is How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. Again, another book that I've had on my shelf for a really, really long time, and it's one of those ones, it was one of the books that like I was supposed to read in 2022. It was on my 2022 TBR, and I never got to it. Even though it's been sitting front and center on my shelf, I just have never gravitated towards it. So we're putting it on this list to kind of bring it to the top of my attention. This is kind of like a Benjamin Button story where this man like cannot age. He's 400 years or something, 400 years old, but he looks like a 41-year-old. And then he falls in love, and then he like has to figure out how to fall in love with a woman who is going to like grow old and die in front of him. I really like Matt Haig's writing, and I should like this book, but I haven't picked it up. And then the last one, I'm putting this on this list for accountability purposes. Someone buddy read this book with me. Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. I should love this book. I should. There's no reason why I shouldn't like this book. I love Shauna McGuire's writing. This book is about Roger and Dodger. They're not quite human, not quite gods. They were created by a god. And they, like, one is like very into numbers, one is very into languages, and I don't know, they're trying to take over the world. I don't know. The tagline is Godhood is attainable, pray it isn't attained. So anyways, this book is praised on BookTube, like absolutely praised. And it's been sitting on my shelf since release day. So I need to read it this year. It needs to happen. Okay, those are the books that are like the self-destruct in the end of 2023. If I haven't read them. So hopefully I stick to them. I'm going to put them back on the shelves where they go. I'm not putting them like on a separate shelf or a separate cart or anything like that. We're just going to get to it when we get to it. Let me know what you think down below. Are there any that I should prioritize and really save from their self-destruction? Or are there some that I should just let go? Just let them go. If you're not feeling chatty, you can do the dynamite emoji, the explosion emoji, something like that. That is all I have for you today. If you're new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video. If you'd like to hang out with me more, the links to my Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.